Hi everyone, and welcome back to Crafting with Purple. Earlier I was working on these duct tape flowers, and my video is on my crafting channel, Crafting with Purple. It's P-R-P-L-E. Leave out the U because I need all of you to help complete me. And after I made these, I realized I had a little gift and I needed a box. So I turned to other crafters on YouTube and I looked up an origami box made out of one sheet of paper, and this was exactly the size I wanted. It's about 2 inches square, about 1 inch high, and I thought that's the perfect size that I needed. And it does a little pinwheel top, so you can actually just open it up and put what you wanted inside, and then to close it up, just each edge goes over, and then the last one tucks under. Okay, but I realized that the paper's a little flimsy, and when somebody opens it, it's going to fall apart. So I decided that even though this is an origami thing, I wanted to reinforce this so that whoever I gave it to would be able to use this box later. So, and here's the little gift box that I decided to give. I haven't glued on my bow yet. Okay, so I decided that what would be perfect is if I edged it in duct tape all the way around, and I didn't do this one, I just did this one really fast, so I didn't really make everything as even. There's a little bubble there, but this way when you open it up, the box stays sturdy. Okay, so it's not gonna fall apart on anyone. So it's no longer true origami, but we're marrying my love of origami and folding with my love of duct tape. And then in this case, what I wanted to do was I wanted to give somebody a fabulous little Red Hat Society button, and I needed a nice little gift box to put it in, and this is perfect for that. And again, the sides just fold over one at a time, and then the last one tucks in. This particular paper was a little thicker than the one we're going to work with right now. This would be a perfect thing to be using with scrapbook paper because it's a little bit thicker than origami paper. So again, but I just took a strip and I just wrapped it around the side. So the main point of this tutorial is to show you the box. So why don't we go ahead and get started. You need a square. Any size square will do. To make this 2 inch by 2 inch by 1 inch box, you're going to start off with a 6 inch square. Okay, and this happens just to be a 6 inch square of origami paper, but again, any kind of paper will do for this. A little bow I made earlier, and I had stuck my Red Hat Society pin on there. For those of you who don't know, I am part of the Red Hat Society. It's a great organization of women, so if you need more information about that, just comment below my video and I'll be happy to talk to you about that offline. So again, we're starting off with our 6 inch sheet of paper. There's a lot of creasing in this. We're doing a lot of pre-folding before we can form our box. So the first thing we need to do is we need to fold everything in half. So we're going to take one edge and we're going to take it up to the next edge. I like to fold up and away from me, and for those of you who've seen my other videos know I'm off here to the side. I'm using my iPad for this, so it's actually set up on a stand next to me off to my left. And we're just going to match up our corners point to point. I usually come down my center as I'm holding it, crease off to my right, and then crease off to my left, and make a nice sharp fold. So you might want to you can just rub it up and down 1 or 2 times to make a nice sharp fold. If your paper's thicker, you might need to rub it up and down a couple more times, or you may want to take, this happens to be my craft knife, be careful, make sure your thing's on. You can use that to smooth it out. So anything, if again, you could use the edge of your scissors, the back of that. So it just depends on how thick your paper is. Will depend on what you might need to crease it. But this is really thin paper, so my finger's perfect. I'm going to open up, and again I need to fold it in half. So I just turned it. Here's that first fold we did. I'm going to fold it the other direction. So I want to line up my edge, doing my bottom edge first, my top edge, my middle line. Take your time. I come down my center, come off to my right, and I come down to my left. Okay. We've now got our paper in 4 quadrants. I now need to divide it in half, but I'm going to do it on the diagonal this time. So I'm matching up my point and the two sides, trying to make sure that I'm as even as possible. I always come down my center first, go off to my right, and then come down to my left. Okay. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to turn it because I need to do that diagonal crease again in the other edges. So point to point. Take your time. It's a little bit harder for me because I'm not quite lined up where I normally am. I'm a little farther away from me. I come down my center line. I go off to my right, go off to my left. But you do whatever your crease, however you like to make your creases. Okay, we're going to open it up. In a perfect world, everything comes together at the same point. Okay. Now we're going to fold each of the points to the center. And we've got these other folds are going to help us line everything up. Okay. So I'm just starting with this first point, and I bring it up to the center using those other lines, our other folds as our guides. I come down my center again, off to my right, off to my left. Guess what? We get to do this 3 more times. Open this flap up, turn. Again, I'm over here. I like to fold up and away from me, but you fold any way that you like that gets this done. So some people like going top down. I learned up and away. And we're going to do this all the way around. So that was the second one. Here's the third point. Just trying to make sure I've got everything lined up. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do it again. Last point. Okay. Great. All right. We still got some more folding to do. We now need to fold what's going to end up being the resulting square here, which is going to be the bottom of our box. So in order to do that, we're going to take this point, and it's going to go up, not to the middle like we just did, but up to the line that we just folded. So up to this point up here. So I'm going to bring it up to this point. Okay, now before I smush it down, I can check here to make sure that each of these other lines line up, and if it doesn't, I can adjust this ever so slightly to make sure that this line travels up. Okay, so I can see that line, and the line here travels up. So I come down my center like I always do, go over to my right, come down to my left. Guess what? We get to do this 3 more times. This is in our way, so we do need to open this. Please don't forget that, otherwise we're going to have a fold we don't want. I'm going to twist it. And again, we're not going to the center. We're going up to the topmost crease. And again, line up our points. Take your time. Check your sides. Check that side. Check that side. Okay. Now the way I tend to do it is I come down my center. I go off to my right. I come down to my left. Okay. And I was holding that point, so it didn't shift on me. I'm going to open it up. We've got 2 more to go. I twist it. Again, we're going to bring this point up, not to the center, but up to the topmost line. We're going to make sure that everything is oriented properly. And if it is, we're going to come down, off to my right, down to my left. We've got 1 more to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and take care of that. Line up my point. I'm going to line up my edges, make sure everything looks happy. This one's slightly off. There we go. And then once I have it, I come down, and so I apologize for this hand getting in the way. All right. We've almost done. We have 4 more folds. So you've got lots and lots of squares that are happening here. Okay. And that's great. That's exactly what we want. Lots of squares. All right. So we need to fold up a little edge on each of the sides. So in order to do this, if we look, as we're looking down the side, you're going to see that there's these diamonds. Okay. So if we're looking at the center, this point of the diamond needs to go up to its matching point. Okay. So this bottom part of the diamond is going up to this first point. Okay. And I'm going to match it up. And I can use my straight edge, and I have all these other lines that I can make sure that are all matched up. Now we technically only need the left part folded. Okay, it's okay if you want to fold all the way across, but we only need the left portion folded. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to turn it, and it's going to just stick up there like that, and that's fine. And we're going to do this on this side. So again, I'm finding my center, I'm finding that point, I'm going to go and match it to the top point of its diamond. I'm going to take my time, I'm going to match up my lines because I want this as straight as possible. Okay, I only need the left portion. Okay, I don't need the right side. If it's easier for you, go all the way across, that's fine, but that part of the crease isn't needed. Okay, we have 2 more to go. So again, I come here to the center, I look for that point, I look for the top of my diamond. I match everybody up. I say fabulous. I hold down my point, come down to my left. I've got 1 more to do. I find that point, match it up to the diamond, make sure that everything else hopefully lines up, and I come down. Okay, all of our folding is done. Whew. All right, now we get to do what's called collapsing or making our box. Okay, and so in origami, after you've done your folds or your pre-creasing, then you collapse your model, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, if we look at all these squares, you're going to see that there is a center large square around your point. Here's that square, and that's the bottom of our box. So if I lay my box right there, you can see it's the bottom of my box. Okay, so these points basically are going to come up on our sides. Okay, so we're going to work on 2 sides first. There's our right side and our left side, and I want to bring them up. Now there's a middle point. Now the problem is that it doesn't want to do what I want it to do. So the easiest way to make it happy is I bring my hand from behind and I give it a little poke. We're not making any folds now. See what I did is I folded it, just gave it a little poke to help that fold go on to the inside. Okay, does that make sense? We need to do this 3 more times, so let me just shift this. We're just going to leave it like that. Just okay, so here's our 2 sides, our right side and our left side. Okay, I want to bring them up, and this corner doesn't want to do what I want, so I'm going to give it a little help by pushing in on the center as I'm trying to fold this up. And when I do that, it hopefully, there we go, it will bounce in. Okay, and I want to reinforce this crease on the inside by just giving it a little pinch. We're not making any new folds. All the folds are there. We're just making the folds go the direction we want. Okay, don't worry about this one. It's going to collapse out, and that's fine, but it's still there. Okay, going in the orientation we want. Let's do this on the other 2 sides. Okay, so here's our left side, here's our right side, here's that resulting corner. So as I try to fold it in and it doesn't want to do what I want, I bring my finger from behind to punch it in. There it goes. Okay, it folds up just like I want it to. Okay, and I can reinforce it. Okay, and we're going to be reinforcing everything to our left. Okay, I've got 1 more corner to do. So I'm going to bring up the 2 sides. It's not folding the way I want. I bring my finger in behind. I push it in. Okay, I find that crease. We're not making a new one. That crease is right there. I just had it oriented so I could see it. Okay, now your model should start folding up a little bit. Okay, it's not in our box shape, but it's starting to go there. And in fact, if we gently just push up our sides, you can see our box forming. Okay, right now it kind of looks like a Chinese takeout box, which is perfect. Okay, so let's keep folding. Okay, I'm going to let it go again. It's just going to open ever so slightly. It's not going to open all the way. All right, I'm going to start with one of the corners. And I'm going to hold this corner. I'm going to bring this up so that corner goes flush against the wall. And it's going off to my left. And if you notice, I've got a crease up here. Those were those last creases we made. So this piece very gently comes down. And it should match right up. See how it matches right up to that? And not this top one, but just the back piece. I want to fold it away. Now I'm not making any new creases. The crease is already there. I'm just folding it back. Okay, that just kind of holds that in place for me for right now. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold my edge so it's off to the left. I bring this top part down so it matches. It should all match up. I'm going to let this part fall kind of forward so I can get to this back section and crease it backwards. Okay, and this one may release a little bit. That's okay if I bring it back up. And notice there's these corners forming, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. All right, let me turn it. So here's my new corner that I'm working on. I'm pushing it over to the left. I'm bringing this down ever so gently to match up. I'm letting go of the top portion so that I can take the back and just reinforce the fold to the back. I've got one more to do. I'm going to go ahead and turn it. Okay, so there it is. It's already in for me from the first fold. I'm going to fold this down. And I already let it just drop away from me. And I'm creasing this in the back. All right, so now you should have something that looks like this. It's still not very sturdy. Okay, but that's our box. Okay, so how do we fold it and close it up? You just start with one of the layers that we had in the back and you bring it forward. Okay, take the next one and bring it forward. I'm going around the clock. Bring the next one and bring it forward. Notice how it's overlapping. And this last one, okay, I can bring it forward, but we know we need to tuck it. So we're going to tuck it in. And I can make my corners, and there's our box. Okay. Now again, I know that if anybody opens it, it's going to fall apart, and they may not be able to get it back together again. So, or maybe the box isn't the right color. This is a white box, and I don't really want a white box to give to a Red Hat Society person, so I want to put some red on it. Okay, each of our sides are 2 inches, so 2, 4, 6, 8. You need to have a piece of duct tape at least 8 inches around. This is only an inch, so duct tape is just shy of 2 inches. So if you cut a piece of duct tape in half, that'll be a perfect size for that. I had done that already, and it's on my mat. I'm just going to pull it up. It's off camera, so hang on a second while I get my edge going here. I figured you didn't need a lesson in laying out duct tape and cutting it in half. Okay, I don't like to measure, but sometimes you don't have a choice. I'm pulling things off here to the side. So here's my piece of duct tape. Okay. And, oh, I don't know. I'm just going to start it here, and I think that looks good. And I'm just going to line it up on the edge. So it's at the topmost edge. And I'm just going to work my way around my box, kind of holding it square as I go, because this is going to help to, I'm sorry, I went off camera. This is going to help to reinforce it. It also, in this case, is going to give it some fabulous color. Okay. I made this piece too long by just a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to overlap it. Okay, I'm going to smooth it down. Okay, so now when your recipient opens their box, it's not going to fall apart on them. And they're going to be able to then close it right back up now. and reuse the box for later. Okay. If you really wanted to, you could add more duct tape if you really needed to make it super sturdy. But I really just thought that that was really all that it needed. And then, of course, you know, add yourself a little bow on top. I think this one may need to get a pin on it so that I can, when I put it on, the person can then use it as a pin. So, but there you've got it. Origami meets duct tape. I hope you've enjoyed this crafting with purple. If you do, when you see the video on YouTube, please click like. That way I know you viewed it, as well as subscribe to the channel. That way, as I do new videos, you'll get notified that they're now online. If you need to interact with me on Facebook, I'm on facebook.com/purpleology, PURPLEOLOGY. And I really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you're enjoying the things that I'm creating.